Before we start the meeting, we have a speaker today from the Green Bank, Katie Shelton. Take it away.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here this morning. I'm Katie Shelton. I serve as a Senior Manager of Market Engagement for the Connecticut Green Bank. For anybody who's not familiar, we are a quasi-public state agency here in Connecticut, founded in 2011 with the goal of accelerating the green economy in the state. Next slide, please. One of the ways in which we meet our stated goals is through a program called Solar MAP Plus, or the Solar Marketplace Assistance Program. This program was created a few years ago after we identified a gap within the marketplace, specifically with municipalities at the time. We were hearing that there was interest in pursuing solar and storage projects for municipal facilities, but they just didn't have the time or resources to dedicate toward evaluating the options. And more so really weren't sure who to trust within the marketplace. So the Green Bank Solar MAP program looks to address those gaps within the marketplace. We provide no cost technical assistance and project development support for solar and battery storage. And we specifically serve 3 different market segments: municipal and school facilities, state agencies, and then most recently, as of January of last year, affordable multifamily housing. All of our projects are structured in a third-party ownership where either Green Bank or financing partner of ours owns the system. We bear the development costs associated with that project, and then we share in the financial benefit with the property owner. Wherever it makes sense, we do look to pair these assessments with battery storage, and that's a free assessment as part of our program. And just to make sure it's clear, we really manage the development process from point A to Z. So from an initial conversation all the way through construction, and in many cases are the long-term contract counterparty where we own the system directly. Through that process, we do run a competitive RFP for contractor selection. So we manage that procurement as well. Next slide, please. I'm going to chat quickly about the 2 market segments that I think would be of most interest to you all. First being affordable multifamily housing. Next slide. So for anybody who's not familiar, Green Bank advanced this as part of our Solar MAP program in January of last year due to a recent shift in incentives at the state level for solar on affordable multifamily housing. Essentially, projects used to be developed utilizing the commercial solar in the state, or solar incentive in the state, and it most recently shifted over to the residential incentive. Sounds minor, but it's major for a few reasons. First and foremost, the value of the revenue contract that can now be secured in the residential program is about double what it was previously. So it's just over 37 cents a kilowatt hour, which is a really rich incentive. And we're able to design one project that benefits the property owner and residents alike. Previous incentive structure really limited project development to benefiting the property owner of the facility, and the financial benefit can trickle down to the residents. This is a brand new structure, and it's been really well received within the marketplace, providing a substantial benefit to residents in affordable multifamily housing facilities. Next slide, please. Because it's such a rich incentive, it is a requirement of this program that the financial benefit be shared with the residents. So for sites that are individually metered with residents paying their own utilities, it's a pretty simple process where they will receive virtually 20% of the state level incentive directly as an on-bill monetary credit on each of the residents' utility bills. Next slide. And for sites that are master metered or where the property owner is paying the utilities, the property owner will ultimately receive the tenant benefit funding to make an eligible improvement to the facility. So it could be things like energy efficiency upgrades, providing a green space or community amenities, or it could be ongoing services like mental health and supportive services, or hiring a residential service coordinator. But it's opening a pool of funding and improving the physical living space for the residents of the facility. And that's all revenue that's generated by installing solar on site at these facilities. Next slide, please. The financing product that the Green Bank offers through our Solar Map Plus program, and is also available to contractors working in the space, is our solar lease, where Green Bank would serve as the third-party system owner for bearing all of the development costs associated with solar and storage for their facility. And then we're sharing on the revenue that the project generates with the residents as well as the property owner. So there's no out-of-pocket expense, and we bear all of the operations and maintenance expenses throughout the term. On the screen here, you'll see an overview of our round one affordable multifamily housing portfolio with a few of the locations. On average, residents are receiving a $363 per unit annual credit on their utility bill. Property owner benefit for this particular portfolio was just under $570,000 per site. Next slide, please. Lastly, I just wanted to touch upon municipal solar development. This would also be through a third-party ownership structure. Next slide. The structure that we utilize for municipal projects is called the PPA, or Power Purchase Agreement. There's really two ways that we can approach these projects. Buy all, sell all PPA essentially means that we're pushing 100% of the electricity produced by the solar system back to the grid, and the property owner benefits from an on-bill monetary credit on their utility bill. Again, no investment required to have solar developed on site. Next slide. The alternative option is the more traditional solar option that you all may be familiar with, which is called a netting PPA. And that's where solar is tied in behind a specific utility meter on site. And the municipality is purchasing that power at a discounted rate that's fixed for 20 years. In either case scenario, again, there's no out-of-pocket expense to develop the solar project, and the third-party system owner is responsible for the operations and maintenance expenses. Next slide. What we really wanted to focus on in the municipal sector and bring to your attention is a new shift in a carve-out of incentives that are specifically available for qualified public schools in Connecticut. This just launched this year. It will be available moving forward. It's a carve-out of 25 megawatts of capacity specifically reserved for eligible school projects. What this does is it allows schools to take advantage of a higher incentive value for their project, and there are additional adders available for specific project types like cardboard canopies, distressed municipalities, or brownfields. But it also is reserved capacity, so as long as you meet the eligibility requirements and there's still capacity available at the time you submit, means that you're essentially guaranteed to receive the revenue contract that you need to build out a school solar project. Next slide, please. On the screen here, you'll see a list of distressed municipalities that fall within NVCOG. So Ansonia, Derby, Naugatuck, Plymouth, Waterbury, and Bristol. All of these, any schools and or municipal facilities located within these towns would be eligible for a distressed municipality adder, which means it would be a higher incentive contract for these particular locations to develop solar storage. Next slide, please. And lastly, I just wanted to note that we do look to include energy storage or battery storage as a backup resource in our valuations. So again, this is a no charge assessment. We look to pair it with solar wherever it makes sense and where there's interest. Next slide, please. Benefit of battery storage is twofold. Number one, it's providing a backup energy source in the event of an outage. But additionally, for any site where there are demand charges directly on the utility bill, it can be used as an additional cost saving measure to maximize the savings benefit to the facility. Green Bank looks to pull these into our PPAs or lease structures, so there's no out-of-pocket expense to the property owner, and we are utilizing the energy storage solutions incentives available here in the state of Connecticut. So those are the two programs that I just wanted to note for you all. These are market segments that we serve through our program. There's absolutely no cost to participate. And Green Bank again manages that development process from point A to Z. So if there's interest in developing solar and storage projects for affordable multifamily housing, municipal facilities, and particularly school sites, now is really the time to take advantage of it. Let me know if there are any questions.
All right, questions for Katie?
Is it strictly affordable, multi-housing for these centers?
Yes, so for the affordable multifamily housing program, it has to be 5 or more units and they have to meet specific affordability restrictions to apply. There are lists of eligible sites that are published by the utility company, so it's right on their website. You can actually pull out some sites in the back of this deck, so we can share this as a resource with you all, but it would be eligible locations within the COG that can take advantage of the affordable multifamily housing program.
And it's 5 units minimum.
5 units minimum, yes.
All right, any further questions?
I have a question about roofs. We're building a new school. And I would be very interested in this. But I would not want to void the warranty on the roof. So how does that's my question.
Yeah, so there's a standard process within the solar industry. It's called an overburden waiver process, where there would be a third-party inspection before anything is loaded or installed up on the roof. And that certifies your existing roofing warranty. After solar is installed, there will be a post-installation inspection, making sure that everything was installed according to manufacturer specifications. And then it ties out your roofing warranty so that it's not voided by having the solar installed on site. There's a specific form that gets filled out, but it's all done through a third party to make sure that you have second set of eyes on it and that you're following the
So
proper
if
protocol.
the roof fails within that warranty period, how are we reimbursed? Through who?
It'd be through your roofing manufacturer.
Okay.
Do you need a new roof?
No, we're building a school.
Oh, new brand new school?
Yeah, so once it's built, we'd like to go with this. I haven't told anybody in town that, but this is what I.
You just did. If I remember correctly, okay, because we considered something similar to this, not through this program, some years ago in Thomaston. The only issue that needs to be understood is, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, maybe you guys do something different now.
Sure.
Was if you needed to do something with the loopings, the town would be responsible for removing the equipment and then putting it back. Is that still the case with Green Bank?
That's the case in a PPA structure. So let's say your roof was 10 years old and it only had a 20-year warranty on it. We wouldn't look to install solar because you're midway through your roof life cycle. But if that were the case and you needed roof work done mid life cycle of the solar project, it would be your responsibility to pay for removal and reinstallation of the systems.
The only pitch that I remember. But if you're building new and you're putting a roof on, the likelihood is that you've got a 30-40 year roof anyways. And if the life of the project is what, 20?
It's 20 years, yeah.
Yeah, you should be fine. But just a side note.
No, thank you, I appreciate that.
Are you reaching out to school districts? Because we're part of a regional school district and we're going to referendum now on a new roof solar project right now. So it'd be great if Region 16 were made aware of some of the options and benefits that were here. So if you didn't reach out, I can get in touch. So I don't have a whole lot to say, but
Yeah, that
I
would
would
be great.
would like to get them at least to hear what you got to go off of.
Wonderful. That sounds great.
You always have.
All right, any further questions for Katie?
Yeah, clarification, you did say no cost, right?
No cost, no cost.
It's a starting point. Okay, ready? All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order and Mayor Dunn will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, roll call. Yeah.
So we don't have a voting member present from the city of Ansonia. We were expecting Sheila O'Malley to join us. But we are doing by Mayor-elect Frank Tishman. And I vote today, but happy to have you here.
Thank you.
From the town of Beacon Falls, First Selectman Smith.
Here.
First Selectman Buckus from Bethlehem was not able to join us today. On the line, I believe we have Mayor, Zaposasu from Bristol.
Yep.
Hey, good to see you. And from the, town of Cheshire, also online, Andrew Martelli.
Good morning.
All right. From the city of Derby, we have Mayor DiMartino.
Good morning.
online. Thank you. We do not have a voting member from the town of Middlebury today, but we are joined by the first select woman elect, Jennifer. Thank you. From the borough of Naugatuck, Mayor Hess.
Here,
From the town of Oxford, first selectman Temple. Here. From the town of Plymouth, we're joined by Mayor David Sikorsky.
Here.
Sure. From the, Mayor Sheffield is not with us, is he? Okay, we were expecting. From the town of Seymour, I believe also on the line, we have, first select woman Dragonis.
Yes,
Thank you. We are expecting Merrill already, you're not here yet. From the town of Southbury, we do not have a voting member, but we are joined today by first selectman-elect, Tim O'Neill. Welcome. From the town of Thomaston, first selectman Cilio.
Here.
Thank you, sir. From the city of Waterbury, we're joined by the mayor's proxy today, Judy Mancini.
Here.
Thank you, Judy. Mark Ramo, town manager from Watertown, was not able to be in attendance today. From the town of Wolcott, Mayor Dunn.
Here.
Sir, and I also believe on the line from the town of Woodbury, we have, first select woman Barbara Perkinson.
Here.
Thank you. We're also joined by Paul Zolpa, the first selectman elect, who's in the room with us today. Very good. We're also joined today, by Daniel Davis from Eversource. Did Farian Rabani, there he is, Farian Rabani from, Senator Murphy's office is with us today. And, as well, we're joined by Matthew Abbott from, Policy and Planning and Environmental from the Connecticut DOT. Thank you, Matthew, nice to have you here. So, Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum of both the CNVMPO and the NVCOGCT boards.
okay, thank you, Rick. You sort of already introduced everyone, but I think for the record, we should make a formal introduction. I guess we'll start right here with Frank Fiska and Sonia. Stand up, Frank, show everyone what Sonia looks like.
We forgot, it has been a lot of years, so it hasn't. I don't know. Thank you.
Okay, online, returning to us, Ellen Zaposaso, welcome back and, good to see you again. And she is now, in office, so, she'll be voting today. Middlebury, Jennifer Marr takes office December 1. Jennifer, say hello to everyone. Okay, morning. So Plymouth, David Sikorsky also took office and you will be voting today. David, welcome.
Good morning.
Todd.
Good to be here. Thank you.
And from Southbury, first selectman-elect Tim O'Neill, welcome, Tim.
You.
And from Thomaston, taking over for Ed Moan, hard to replace Ed Moan, Rich Cilio, who took office on November 18th.
Not replacing, just picking up where you left off.
I thought he was still here. He started talking. I let him go.
So first of all, let me just say that,
Woodbury,
Oh, we were, Woodbury.
not on the list.
not on the list,
Oh,
but, well, I see Barbara Perkinson is on the line.
but Paul Zolpa is in the back of the room.
Oh, stand up.
You know, Paul, you can come join us. We have a couple empty chairs.
I'm gonna hide the back.
So did Paul take off? He didn't take off.
December 1st.
Okay, December 1. So, elections bring change brings renewal, renewal brings new ideas. So, for our new members, don't be afraid to ask questions. We're glad you're here. And, you know, we welcome your thoughts and ideas. I would also like to make a pitch for, attendance in person. And I think what you'll find is when you come to these meetings, there's some camaraderie, talking with staff. Our staff is always here. And, you'll learn more and you'll get more out of a meeting if you're actually here in the room with us. So I encourage everyone to come in person. Having said that, we'll go to public comment. Is there anyone either in the room or on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? Rick, did anyone sign up?
We did not receive any online requests, Mr. Chairman.
All right, last call for public comment. Okay, we will proceed to our CNVMPO meeting. And we will go to safety performance measure adoption. Rich Donovan. Oh, you're over here today.
Yeah, we have full room, so I ended with that.
Okay.
So good morning, everybody. I'm Rich Donovan. I'm our Director of Transportation Planning. For those of you I haven't met yet, I'm looking forward to working with you. And I apologize to start off with a somewhat grim topic for your first meeting. Just very briefly, we'll go through a little bit more background on the MPO at next month's meeting. But I wanted to put this map up just in case anyone was unaware. We are 1.5 MPOs here at NVCOG. And so we are the sole host agency for the Central Naugatuck+Valley MPO, and we co-host the Greater Bridgeport and Valley MPO with the Connecticut Metropolitan COG. And so the 15 northern towns are all the CNVMPO members and eligible to vote in these next 2 items. The 4 lower valley towns, Ansonia, Derby, Shelton, and Seymour, are part of the Greater Bridgeport and Valley MPO, who met yesterday to address all of these same issues. And so with that, So moving into safety performance measures, this is a task we do every year here at the CNVMPO and every MPO across the country. Each year, under the Highway Safety Improvement Plan program, the Connecticut Department of Transportation is required to set a performance target for 5 different measures of safety performance. This is part of the broader federal highway performance management and performance-based planning program. And so these categories are the number of fatalities, the rate of fatalities, so the number per 100 million miles driven, the number of serious injuries and the rate of serious injuries, and then lastly, the number of non-motorized fatalities and serious injuries combined. And that non-motorized is pedestrians, cyclists, and anybody using other micro-mobility devices, so scooters and skateboards. So every year, DOT sets their target by August 1st. We are required to either endorse their target within 180 days or set our own regionally dependent or regionally independent targets. Every year, up to this point, we have endorsed the conduct target, as has every other MPO here in the state and most MPOs across the country. However, in the last couple of years, we have been examining setting our own targets. And so last year we went through the full process. We did the calculations. We determined what our targets would be. But we did encourage this board to endorse the statewide target, and we did do that action last year. This year, we've done quite a bit of work between us, the Federal Highway Administration, and CONDOT to set regional targets, specific regional targets. And so there's a number of reasons we've chosen to do that. The Federal Highway Administration has been encouraging MPOs to set independent targets, as well as back in September of 2022, the NVCOG adopted a Vision Zero target. And we'll talk quite a bit more about Vision Zero over the next several months as well as we adopt our safety action plan. But fundamentally, Vision Zero is a belief that roadway serious injuries and fatalities are avoidable and are not a necessary element of mobility. And so as we work towards eliminating serious injuries and fatalities on our roads, we thought that setting our own targets would give us an extra degree of ability to measure and influence the project that'll get us there. So we worked very closely with CONDOT on setting a methodology that we could all agree on. We do have their written confirmation that they support our methodology. We are using exactly the same methodology that they use to set their targets. Importantly, us setting our own targets is not meant to be a rebuke of CONDOT, but instead it really is us working in close partnership as we work across the state and specifically here in our region to advance these targets of no, or these goals of no serious injuries or fatalities. And that leads to one point I really do want to make, which is we use the term target because it is what the Federal Register calls for, and it is what we are required to say here. It's important to note that the goal is always zero. We do not want to see any fatalities or serious injuries in the region happen ever. And that Vision Zero goal by 2060 is something we hope to hit long before that point. However, target setting must be based on a statistical model. It can't just be zero. And so we go through this process and we set targets, even though we don't necessarily agree with that terminology. And just to calculate the VMT, the total vehicle miles traveled in our region, we do use the statewide model provided to us by CONDOT. We discussed the potential of establishing a separate number for our region, and we may be working on that in the future. But for this year and for at least the next several years, we're going to be using the statewide number just so that there's a degree of comparison between the state targets and our regional ones. So as I said, right, zero is the actual target we hope to hit by 2060. CONDOT has an aggressive setting target methodology now where they make an adjustment down from what the statistics suggest the target should be. What we want to do for 26, we calculated these numbers at their full statistical value, and we'll be doing effectively a linear reduction over time to get to that zero. But every 5 years, we'll do a significant recalculation and adjust the reduction methodology to make sure that we're accounting for real world conditions. So I'll run through this quickly. These are the actual performance here in our region, in the 15-town CNVMPO region over the last 10 years or so. You'll see this red line is the 5-year moving average. That is the statistical model we use to calculate the projection. And so for the number of traffic fatalities, we are anticipating 35 for 26. The target will be 35. You'll see, because we're a relatively smaller region, we have smaller numbers that we're working with. And so any 1 year where we have a kind of an outlier, so in 2022, we had a particularly bad year, that messes quite a bit with the model. And so where the state model smooths out just a little bit based on the size of the state and a relative degree of consistency, we see a bit more fluctuation. And so to calculate that fatality rate, we take the target of 35 divided by the 100 million VMT denominator. We anticipate in 2026, the 15 towns will see a little bit more than 3 billion miles driven. We go through the same process here for the number of serious injuries. We are very excited to see this downward trend here. And you'll see the actual performance compared to the projection model is pretty significantly better. We like to see that, and we would like to see that continue. And the same calculation for the rate. And non-motorist serious injuries and fatalities. This is something that has been rising across the state and across the country. It has been relatively flat in our region. We would obviously prefer to see a downward trend, but flat is outperforming the state and the country. And so we will continue to make a targeted effort in this area. So to get back to this table with the summary of the targets, the rightmost column, these are the numbers we are asking you all to endorse for this year. These are the regional targets that we have calculated and set. The second from right column is the statewide targets being that were adopted by CONDOT back at the beginning of August. That middle column, 26 targets adjusted. The CNVMPO is almost exactly 10% of the statewide population, to the point where you can't round at any level and not get to 10. And so we just adjusted down. This is what 10% of the statewide target would look like to compare against ours. As a reminder, the state does have that aggressive target setting methodology where they are reducing from the statistical, what the statistical point would be. And so just a very brief piece, we'll talk a lot more about this in coming months as we adopt that safety action plan. But we're very committed to achieving this goal of zero here. And so in everything we're doing, we are focused on roadway safety at its core. And we will talk with all of you about some of the actions that we would like to offer and make available to you. But fundamentally, this comes down to choosing roadway projects and investments based on the data that suggests not only where these crashes are happening, but what is contributing to and what is causing these. And making sure that any interventions that we propose are based on the actual crash types that are happening. And so with that, our recommendation would be the adoption of CNVMPO Resolution 2602, endorsing the regional safety targets for calendar year 2026.
All right, any questions for Rich?
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
First of many perhaps new person questions, but what are the ramifications other than the obvious of not hitting those targets?
Yeah, so as an MPO, if we set targets that we do not hit, there are no direct penalties against us. At the statewide level, if the state sets targets that they do not hit, we haven't hit our targets here in Connecticut in many years. The effective punishment from the Federal Highway Administration, we actually view as a positive here in Connecticut, is that highway safety specific dollars cannot be flexed into other programs. So we already spend significantly higher than what is specifically roadway safety dollars here in Connecticut on roadway safety projects. So like I said, we don't really consider that to be a penalty so much as it is an opportunity for us, but that is the federal ramification for missing the targets.
Thank you for that background.
All right, any further questions? We're done? So moved.
Second.
Second from Deacon Pauls. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
So, let's go to approval of 25-28 Fifth Amendment. Rich.
Yeah, so I apologize in advance for how many TIP amendments we have for this meeting.
Before Rich continues, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I apologize for all the jargon and acronyms. We'll get you all there with this information. But just the important thing to note, the MPO meeting is the first meeting of the 13 members Rich showed you on the map. 13. Is the we are the federally designated metropolitan planning organization. That's what you sit as in this body. When we go to the main meeting of the NVCOG, that's everyone. That's the state designated Council of Governments, planning, the state planning region. And MPO is Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Yes, yes, good call. And so to that point, the TIP, or the Transportation Improvement Program, is the 4-year fiscally constrained document that lists every single project that will receive federal aid in this 4-year period. And so importantly, the MPO exists so that you all, as the local elected officials, have a say over how federal money gets spent in transportation. And so CONDOT can't actually spend $1 of federal money without your approval to do it. This is a really important process for us. The TIP is one of the most important documents that we on the MPO side maintain and deliver for you all. And we regularly receive amendments to this document for the addition of new projects, changes in the cost of a project greater than 20%, or moving project in and out of a specific 4-year period. So like I said, we have quite a few projects up for amendment at this meeting, and I'll run through them quickly, and again, apologize for the total number. There we go. Also for the size. So these are all in the meeting packets that are on the table, as well as that were emailed out to you beforehand. Project 17196. This is a joint project between CONDOT and the city of Bristol, making improvements along Route 72 or Riverside Avenue. 63749. So this project is a maintenance project along the Connecticut Fast Track system. This will be repaving the main guideway between Hartford and New Britain. Because the CT Fast Track system does operate into Bristol and Waterbury, though, we as a region have to endorse this project. 151-344. So this is an early action or a breakout project from the New Mix program. New Mix is the statewide project that has been ongoing for a number of years and will continue for many, many more, to replace the interchange of Route 8 and Interstate 84. As part of that program, they are breaking out some projects for the benefit of local roads and to help mitigate the impact of construction. This one is going to be on the west side here of downtown Waterbury. It's going to change the alignment of where Watertown Avenue and West Main Street come together and relocate exit 30 or 30B off of 30D, excuse me. The new numbers haven't really set in yet. Off of Route 8 southbound, so that instead of meeting at West Main Street with Watertown Avenue southbound, it'll come out onto Watertown Avenue and allow for Watertown Avenue at West Main Street to be a normal two-way configuration. So this one, 174-470, is a continuation of bridge improvement projects that have been happening along Route 8, mostly rehab projects with some decking material improvement in the towns of Thomaston and Harwinton. So this is the New Haven Line Track Program. This is an annual project that we run every year here in Connecticut. The track program does exactly what it sounds like. It replaces railroad ties, old wooden ties, with modern concrete ties. It will replace old rail, which was in 20-foot segments, with continuously welded rail, which is a very cool process. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend go find a video of it. But it allows for much higher speed operations as well as a much smoother ride. And then it resurfaces the rail that exists in place already. And then we have 4 projects that we've been talking about for quite a while, and these are specific to the railroad station replacements here in the region. So there are 4 that are part of this. This breaks out a new phase. It's really a financial move more than it is a project change or a significant project change. But it adds a bit of 5307 FTA funding to these projects and allows for a construction phase entry. And so I'm going to move to pictures on these. I think this will be better to talk about. This is for the Ansonia station, for the Seymour station, and then in the CNVMPO region, we have the Beacon Falls station and the upgrades here in the city of Waterbury. So this is specifically for the platform project here in Waterbury, not the indoor waiting space. And so I'm happy to take any questions on the large number of projects here. But our recommendation is to adopt Resolution 2603, endorsing the changes presented by CONDOT for all of these projects.
Is the construction, sorry, Rick,
No, wanted to note for everyone, the 2 stations that aren't mentioned in these changes are fully funded new construction or reconstruction project. The Naugatuck station is all new construction. The Derby Shelton station is a full reconstruction.
Yes, and those are funded under different programs. These 4 were funded under a federal all station accessibility program grant, and then a combination of additional state dollars and $5307.
Jerry?
is construction still supposed to start in spring 26?
Yes.
Nothing's changed?
Nothing has changed. No, thankfully, we're seeing quite a bit of progress. CONDOT has been great in sharing these designs and being willing to work with us and keeping us updated. We're hopeful to see, or we're looking forward to seeing the construction begin in the spring.
Any changes to any of the existing designs or plans?
Nope.
Okay.
No, we have a final design set that incorporated all the comments that you all provided over the years, and I guess year and a half or so. Yeah, they've gone through public meetings, they've gone through pretty extensive design review. Yeah.
The Ansonia project, is any of that gonna be inside, or is there gonna be any inside lighting at the platform?
No, so all of these are just going to be platform projects.
Okay, it was
but-
quick, I had my head down, so.
Yeah, I'll come back to it here. But what it does do, and so it's a little bit different from the current standard, these will be fully, they'll be fully protected on 3 sides.
Okay,
So they'll have windscreen on both sides of the platform and the entire back side of the platform.
pretty good.
There are also just, for anybody who's not familiar with the project, so they'll all be 350 feet, high level platforms. They match the new MTA standard design. They will all be heated, so snow removal will be automatic. There won't be anybody out there with shovels or salt. They will have roof canopies that are designed to accommodate future solar installations. At this time, that's not part of this project, but they will be, it's something that the state has built in as a future option. They will all include upgraded parking areas with new landscaping, and then they will all be fully ADA compliant, which we are among the last low-level platforms here in Connecticut. The new rolling stock that the department has ordered will not work well with low-level platforms. And so this will both speed up boarding, but make it fully compliant for all of it, all system users.
Rich, any date on the new rolling stock, when it'll be available?
So the early deliveries, I believe, are scheduled still for the end of next year, for end of 26. I don't believe we'll see any of it out here until probably 28. As there's older equipment in the system that needs to get replaced first.
Who's in front of us?
Hartford, the Hartford line has some pretty old equipment out there.
It's outrageous.
I'm with you.
All right.
Will the old equipment work with the new platform?
Yes. Yeah, old equipment will work fine with the new platforms. We already have high level platforms. There's a 100-foot platform here in Waterbury. And then the Bridgeport station where Waterbury line trains terminate is high level as well. So all the old equipment will work well with the new platforms. The new equipment won't work well with the old platforms.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, although I am not a member anymore, may I?
I'm gonna allow this.
What a guy.
So Rich, President and I remember some conversation previously, projects north of Waterbury. At one point in time, we had talked about, and it was certainly part of this NVCOG's recommendation to see, CTDOT to extend up through Thomaston to Torrington. Is that totally off the board? Is that still on the board for some future development, although not this? Where does that stand?
Yeah, so that was looked at as part of the Waterbury Line Master Plan the department is completing now. Effectively, the current state is the cost benefit analysis suggests that improved bus service is a more cost effective and user friendly option. It does not take it off of the table though as a potential future option. It just may be a bit further out than a short term project.
Okay, so it's, but it's still,
So it extends to Torrington?
Yes, that would be the idea.
so it's still being looked at, just not immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, they did a pretty in-depth analysis of it, the cost to bring the rail north of Waterbury up to a passenger standard and a passenger standard that would support trains fast enough to be appealing is pretty notable. And so for now, the better, more realistic short-term option is enhanced bus service.
But we don't expect the master plan, when it comes out of draft, to recommend
No.
any planning, design, or any additional advancement of north of Waterbury.
At this stage of the game.
That's our expectation.
Right, right.
We may, we will still continue to look at options and make sure that we're connecting Torrington and Thomaston well to the rest of the region and downstate. But the master plan as it is now, we don't think we'll recommend any further work there.
And as, just to clarify, Mr. Chairman, if I can, as we go forward through this process of developing our own capital needs and plans, those rail options will remain on this MPO's
Yes.
list of priorities, as well as are the other bus line improvement options that we've advocated for, as well as BRT. So we'll continue to talk about them. They will remain on our MPO priority list, and we will continue to talk to the state about those.
Thank you for the
Is Torrington
explanation.
pushing for the same thing as Thomaston?
I have not talked with Mayor Carbone about this. I don't know if you have any.
The mayor, I know the mayor, no, it's been some time, but it was casual conversation between myself and Eleanor. And certainly she was interested in it as well. Now Eleanor has left just as I have, so,
Okay.
Not yet.
well, no, not yet, but she's scheduled to, let's put it that way.
All right, before we vote, I don't want any of our new members to feel intimidated by the language and all the moving parts. It takes, several months, if not longer, to fully process everything that's going on and see how the federal government, the state government, the region, your towns all fit together. So I would just say, don't worry about it if you think it's complicated. It's really not, but you just gotta listen and eventually you'll absorb everything. So having said that, Mayor Dunn?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Second from Oxford, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great. Thank you.
Great job, Rich. Okay, NVCOG administrative items. Item 1, vacancies in office. We're not gonna address this today. We will not be filling any vacancies until January. And myself and Mayor Loretti will handle whatever duties are necessary in that interim period. Is he gonna come today?
Apparently not.
Doesn't look like.
We only been in it.
Standard
for
time.
You got
50
the
minutes.
best seat in the house is available.
We do have more seats. So the regular election of officers is scheduled for January under the bylaws. And in December, the chairman will be naming a nominating committee for that process. So.
Okay, approval of minutes. They're done?
Yep, so moved.
Second.
They're in the packet, if you wanna read them later on for the new people.
Second from Oxford. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Rick?
Yeah, before we go further, I just wanna know, we're joined by voting member Fran Sonia, Sheila O'Malley is online. And I also missed, I didn't see her Ellen Graham from Senator Blumenthal's office is sitting behind Patricia there. So, thank you, Ellen. Always good to have you.
Okay. Let's go to the financial report, Michael.
Thank you. So, I'm Mike Springer, I'm the finance director. So this, you all got the report for the period ending September 30th, 2025. Just to give you a little bit of a background, we did adopt a just under $22 million total budget in June, with $5 million of which being the operating budget. That $5 million is about 31% increase from the previous fiscal year. But it does include a balanced budget with a $250,000 allocation from fund balance to cover our move to the new facility. So currently we are about 25% through the year. At about $1.2 million operating revenue. Our net position is $289,000. Just to note that though it is indicating a surplus, we front load the dues at the beginning of the year, so it's all recognized. So it does end up inflating the numbers, but the number converges to a balanced budget towards the year, end of the year. We currently have a general fund balance unrestricted of just over $1 million, 4.6 million in the bank, and about 3.4 million of deferred revenue. Just so you're aware, deferred revenue, there's some grant projects that we have, programs where we get the money up front. When we get the money up front, services aren't rendered yet, it's deferred until we recognize it. And just under 2 million of which is from our post closeout program income through our EPA. And our current expenses, G&A expenses are about 18% of the target. So in the budget that was adopted, we had two things. One, we had a number of positions that we just started to fill in October. We still have 2 or 3 more that we're going to be filling up in the next couple months. So our performance target is a little down. In addition to that, we had 2 grant programs that we did budget for, that are 2 funding items that we budgeted for that we hadn't come to fruition yet. One of them is the OPM RPIA grants. Rick will go into a little bit more detail during the director's report, but we should be seeing those towards the second half of the year. Prorating originally is about 400,000. Probably looking closer to 2. And then we also have some fee for service contracts that we are waiting on executing. Those we're pretty confident are going to move forward. Outside of that, we haven't experienced any unexpected funding cuts. With the exception of we are still waiting for federal fiscal year 2 funds to be released from NOAA, which is the Kingstown grant that we have. We got the first two project years. So it's a little confusing, but we're still waiting on about $10.7 million to be released in total. I think this next release would be another $3 million. We still have some funds in the project to keep moving. We did secure Connecticut bond funding to help in the intermittent, but nevertheless, that's what we're saying.
Okay, any questions for Michael?
Just note, Mr. Chairman, we'll be giving a full update on the Kindytown Dam project at next month's meeting. Soup to nuts for all the new members, and we'll get you some information in the meantime about what's going on there.
All right,
Move to accept.
second from Beacon Falls. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
You're in favor, right?
All right, we will go to the director's report now. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to welcome everyone. I want to say thank you to those of you who are not yet in office for being here today and getting a head start. You'll all need it. I think I've met all of you who are in the room, at least in person, and we'll be sending out packages to all of you, orientation packages that go from the general, what are the programs and things we're talking about here? What are the roles? What are your responsibilities, what appointments do you make, things like that. That'll all be in the package, and then down to the detailed level of the individual projects in your towns. We'll be trying to make arrangements to get out to see you all a couple of hours with our team, meeting with your teams in December, hopefully, some in January. We've never had to do more than 2 of these in a cycle. We have to do 8 of them this year, so it's gonna be a challenge. It's a heavy lift for everyone. But we're looking forward to meeting with all of you. I wanted to touch on briefly the move. Michael mentioned the move. We did budget a piece of fund balance. It's a one-time capital expenditure associated with relocating. As you can see, and if you want to take a walk around later, we have outgrown this space dramatically. I'm actually a little worried that we're not, the new space may not be quite big enough for us. But the city of Waterbury, who owns the building that we're moving into on the green at One Exchange Place, is on time. We'll talk more about it at the executive board meeting on December 8th, which, by the way, executive board meetings are only held in person, only here. But even if you're not on the executive board, all members are welcome to come and participate in those meetings. But they're not online. But the city looks like it's doing a good job on schedule. One of the elevators is already installed. The new ones are coming in. We're already using the parking facilities over there. And we see no reason that our target of March to gain possession of the space will not happen. And then we would hope to be in there relatively quickly. I think Michael's leading the project, and we've gotten it down to a relatively small amount of work that we will have to do in the moving. So we may not even hit the capital budget we set aside for the move, but it's a good deal. We will be looking for some additional, maybe meeting space or other space to accommodate everyone. Michael also talked about some of the underspending in the current budget, where we've been unable to fill some positions. We have some high-level vacancies in planning, particularly in community planning, where we haven't been able to, we've had difficulty finding people. Engineers, we're having difficulty hiring. So those are the challenges that we're experiencing. But the majority of the money, I wanted to mention, Michael talked about the operating budget, the general and administrative budget, we call it, which we separate from all the projects, which is around $5 million. I'll be much far rounder numbers than Michael uses, about $5 million. About $2.5 million of that comes by formula. The rest of it is the staff going out and seeking funds to support the agency. And we've done that consistently for the last decade, and very successfully. So that's the expansion. That's where the expansion is coming from. The state has also invested more in councils of governments over the last few years. So, and we expect that to continue. So I just wanted to touch on those things. What I really wanted to spend my time on today before we go to the executive board actions is the housing bill, which recently passed. As some of you may be aware, the CTCOG, which is the Association of Connecticut COGs, was very involved in brokering some of the language deals on the replacement bill that ultimately Connecticut Conference of Municipalities and COST both supported, and gained the approval of leadership in the governor's office. So we were very pleased by that. There is quite a bit of misinformation still out there. I've got calls from a bunch of you worried about certain things you've heard about the bill or how it might impact. So Savannah Nicole Vialba, who's our director of community planning, she's in the back over there, is heading up the state working group of COGS to analyze the bill, get deep into it, figure out where the conflicts with existing legislation are, figure out where maybe some of the conflicts at the town levels may occur. I'll say that the governor hasn't signed it yet. We do expect him to sign it when LCO produces a file copy, but I would expect that there will be a bill in the new session to deal with some fixes in there. Every new piece of legislation has cross-cutting responsibilities, obligations, cross-cutting statutes that get missed when these bills get drafted. So, hopefully part of what we will do as CTCOG will be to identify some of those problems, bring them to the attention of the General Assembly, and work on them. I'm hopeful some of the other things, I've told you before, one of the things I fought for during the process and didn't get was a 5-year suspension of 830G appeals for everyone while we built this process. Didn't end up in there. There are some protections, which I'll talk about. But, that's something that I hope the legislature, the General Assembly would see some sense in doing while we embark on this new route. So, one of the things that I have to cover is so the constitutional issue here. There's a lot of debate about home rule and taking away local control, and we're all in favor of local control. Some of us would like to do more things regionally than others, but when it comes to zoning, zoning is a constitutional power of the state. It is not a local town power. Powers you have under zoning have been delegated to you by the General Assembly. So the General Assembly can take those powers away, and it's their decision to do so. So that's really important to remember when we're dealing with this issue, because it's their decision. But constitutionally, zoning is their power. Planning is your power. And SN will correct me if I misstate, Richard. I occasionally do. So high level review on this. The affordable housing plans that you were all previously required to do are gone, and they've been replaced by housing growth plans. Now, the housing growth plans, the way the statute was written, requires each town to write one, but it gives you the ability to opt in to the regional plan. I am going to urge all of you to strongly consider opting into the regional plan. I want to discourage every one of you from going on your own and writing a plan. A couple of reasons for that. First reason is you're going to have to pay for it yourself if you go on your own. The state is giving us resources to write the regional plans. We will not have resources, as we do sometimes with other things or fee for service, to go out and write individual town plans. We just don't have the staff capacity to do that. The other reason I encourage you to opt into the regional plan is the way the targets, and there are targets, there are no requirements to build anything, they are targets. There are new resources, new financial resources that will be available to towns that begin to meet those targets, but there's no requirement. So the targets will be set by OPM in consultation with the COGs. They'll set the statewide target, we'll get those down to regional targets, and then the regional targets will be divided up by this body. As we go through a process, our staff will make a recommendation. They'll do the studies, they'll do the background, but it'll be the 19 chief elected officials who sit around this table who will vote on how the targets will be distributed within our region. Now, this could be a little bit of a battle for us. I don't want to call it a battle. The state has to approve the regional plan. I think there are some guardrails that they put into their, they would call guardrails that they put into their bill, that maybe we don't necessarily agree with taking a regional approach. The bottom line, I'll try to keep this short. The bottom line from my perspective is if we can get 19 chief elected officials sitting around the table to unanimously agree on how the target should be distributed, then the state should accept that. And if that means more units for some towns, fewer units for other towns, that's what it means. Or 0 units in some towns, that's what it means. We as an agency have remained focused on building as much affordable housing as quickly as possible. And to us, from a sensible perspective, that means building it around transit, where we can build more, we can build it more cheaply, and we can build it more quickly. There will be resources available. We're talking about beefing up the rail line. The reason to beef up the rail line is to move people without cars from where they live to where they work. So we're going to remain focused on that. But I would encourage you, we have a very inclusive process. The COG is not the staff, the COG is you. And you guys make the decisions. We follow your direction, we make recommendations from time to time, but we'll go through this process in the same way that SN and her team is going through the regional plan of conservation and development. It's involvement of the towns at all levels. And hopefully if we go through that, what's our deadline, 2029?
Between the end of 2028 and by the end of 2029.
So that we have to set our regional plan by then. And once we do it, and if we can do it sooner, the reason for the schedule is OPM doesn't want to have to review everybody's plan all at once. So they put us on a schedule. But once a plan is in place, that is the basis for your 830G exemption under the current law. Is having that plan in place. Now, some of you, we're gonna have to get interpretations on the affordable housing plans and whether they provide you with any benefit in the meantime. We're not recommending writing new plans, but if you've already written a plan, we suggest you adopt it. We think that's probably the best course of action. Oxford's case, they're on the cusp of adopting a plan. So it's up to you, but we will get more information and more detail on this as everything filters out, as our team gets through the language of the plain language of the bill and the implications of that and other cross-cutting regulations. I want to hit these sort of quickly, and I do apologize, just FYI, these meetings generally take no more than 90 minutes total. They're 1 hour to 90 minutes. This is going to be a longer one today, but I do apologize for that.
Rick, you might mention for new members here, definition for 830G, they may not all know.
830G. SN, do you want to explain the 830G?
Sure. 830G is a land use appeals process, and so it's a developer's remedy should your land use boards or commissions deny an affordable housing development that meets particular parameters through state statute. We can share, we have some orienting memos we can give to new chief elected officials to help understand that process. It essentially shifts the burden, so in most instances, it's up to developers who your land use boards and commissions have denied to show that the municipality acted arbitrarily, unreasonably, capriciously. But in this instance, if your land use commission denies an application, it falls on your municipality to prove that the reason for the denial was in the interest of health, safety, and welfare. And then there's another kind of wonky way that you can get around it that Oxford has experience with the industrial park, but that's a really weird exception of the statute. So generally speaking, you deny an affordable housing application, you likely are going to end up in court about it, and it's going to be up to your municipality to defend that decision.
And honestly, right now, if I'm speaking for myself, it's an unfair advantage as we go through a process of trying to rejigger how we do affordable housing in Connecticut. It would not surprise me to see a lot of bare bones applications coming in from developers flooding your towns, trying to get in the hopper to file an 830G appeal before the rules change. So that does worry me a little bit. That's why I wanted the exemption during the development of the plans. Thanks, SN. So some of the other things, there's a first-time home buyers program that is actually seems workable. We'll see what the details are on that. I told you that the fair, what we're no longer calling fair share, the targets for units will be adopted at the state level, the regional level, and then for the towns. The moratorium under 830G, you have to meet certain criteria for an overlay zone. This is where I got some questions about, hey, we're already in Connecticut Municipal Development Authority. We've already joined. Does this change what we're required to do? The answer to that is no. CMDA still operates the way it operates, but if you join CMDA, other opportunities for funding will open to you if you do an affordable housing project or a percentage set aside project. So I think that's the simplest answer. And there are 3 options, I believe, under the bill, if I can recall it. I have some notes in front of me, but so joining CMDA, which we think is probably going to be the easiest and best way for most towns to qualify for funding if they want to get it. That we're really with CMDA, I think we're talking about not just subsidies for actual physical vertical development of buildings, but offsite development, sanitary sewers, other clean water funds, other infrastructure, roadway improvements, traffic improvements that you might need. But we are focusing again around TOD, and that is transit oriented districts will also qualify as housing growth zones. So it's the creation of those zones. I can recommend to all of you the OLR, which is what I'm reading from the Office of Legislative Research, analysis of the bill. it was during the session. It's not the latest and greatest. We will have some. We'll have greater details for you, as we move forward. The summary review, so it'll talk about one of the two other things, so. The zoning powers taken away. Developments of under 16 units. In certain areas of your towns. Don't require off-street parking. Now, you can exempt certain areas of your towns from this requirement. We're not exactly sure how all that works yet. That's one of the things we're digging into. But it was originally 24 units under the bill, it's now 16. Developers, if they're building away from transit, they're gonna build off-street parking. They're, it makes no sense for them. They're not gonna be able to sell or rent the units if there's no other option for transportation. People who live away from transit own one or two cars usually. So I'm not as concerned about it. I know it's a concern for many people, but I'm personally not as concerned about that provision. The other one is the summary judgment, the summary review process for what they're calling as of right applications. I'll just speak to this because SN's gonna have much more detail that she'll get into when we get through with this. What it means is you can't hold a public hearing, you can't go through the whole process. You either have to, vote up or down on the application, the application under what are qualified as things defined as of right in the bill. The thing about this is you do have control. You can still set standards, and the important thing is to get out in front and work on your zoning to set standards by which you're gonna make your summary review. It's not, don't envision it in the context of your current zoning, where somebody can come in and build anything that was previously subject to public hearing or site plan review. You want to tighten up your regulations in these areas of town, in these types of developments where you can do that. So there will be some cost for towns in really tightening up your zoning regulations, but it's in your interest to do it. I urge all of you to get out ahead of this. We'll provide support and information on it. But those are the main things that I think people have been worried about and have asked me about. But like I said, we will get a much more detailed report out to all of you as soon as staff is able to slog through the entire bill together. Happy to answer any questions on that issue, Mr. Chairman.
All right, you brought up a lot of points, man. A lot of moving parts.
Yep.
I'll just say one thing to my friends along the Waterbury branch line. If you're on the branch line, and you join CMDA, there are many opportunities, and it's much easier to comply with the law and come out ahead on this. Now, the towns that aren't on the branch line, the more, we'll say the Berries and those towns, it's a whole different process. So in the COG, there's sort of just like municipal refuse, there's different groups are affected in different ways. And I encourage everyone to meet with and talk with not only Rick, but Savannah, stand up so everyone can see you. Savannah is available, and her whole team to meet with towns and explain the nuances. You're also gonna have your town attorneys involved, and there's just a lot going on. And Rick gave you a good summary. He mentioned a lot of things that some of you might not fully comprehend, but you should get involved now, talk with Savannah, and understand where you sit. Every town is a little different.
Question. Would it be beneficial at some level to have, whether it's SN and her team, to come out and give like a Reader's Digest condensed version of this to the zoning commissions? So like you said, so we can our zoning commissions can be ahead of what's coming at us. So they can at least be prepared. I know enough to be very dangerous to try and do what you just did. Where if SN came out and spoke to the chairs and the boards, just to give them an idea of what they're looking at, because at least we're more in tune to being privy to just enough of it where they're probably not paying as close attention to it. So I think it would be beneficial just to come out, just to make them aware of what you can expect and that you'll be coming back with much for the, but just a high level conversation. So they're aware, like you said, to stay ahead of it.
Yeah.
We could do that on
I
a
like
regional
it.
basis,
I was
where
gonna
we
say,
have,
yeah. Individual.
different towns, like Beacon Falls, Oxford, Seymour get together and have one person from here talk to everybody.
Yeah,
Rather-
through the
rather
chair,
than
that's what I'm.
getting-
And I'd be okay with
Easier.
that. Just, I think they just.
For
there
our
needs to be a
planning,
note
don't
right here.
come that for, maybe different levels, the rail and then not the rail.
Well, Savannah, what are your thoughts on how to handle it from your standpoint?
It would be a pleasure to be back in front of many of your planning and zoning commissions. I look at you all and I can see certain members of your commissions. I think doing a rail and not rail is a really great idea. I think the only thing I'm concerned about is that a lot of your commissioners, it's hard to get them to your own regularly scheduled meetings. And so maybe if we did something where we had a recorded version, I'd be more than happy to come down with our team. We've got a really great staff. To do something that we record so that if your commissioners aren't able to make that meeting, if it's a additional burden for them that they just can't do with family or work or whatever, they could review that recording and still get that information. But CTCOG is gonna give a really good summary on what you have to do on the municipal side, the shalls, the mays, and then what it means for money. And then I know our staff as well, we make land use, we'll do a lot of different things to make sure that everyone's really comfortable and confident, but you all know I love a good opportunity to be here.
That's why I suggested that.
But I am gonna say, thank you, SN. I am gonna speak up on this, Mr. Chairman. We're stretched thin right now in community planning. We're down 2 vacant positions that are really important to us being able to pull all this off. I would suggest that maybe we do a planners luncheon meeting for all the towns or 2 groups of towns first. But I need the CEOs to get your people here. That's the hard part.
It might be better off in the evening.
Yeah, well, and it could be, but if we could just do a couple of meetings first. And then get in, when we know more about the bill, and then after that, get into the individual towns. It's just, it's a lot. And we don't.
Scary is what it is.
It's a little scary, but we also only have 4 people right now in your department?
Yes.
Yes, and they're all here. And we have two vacancies that are really important, one of which is the senior housing position, right?
Yeah.
Is vacant, so we're in a little bit of a tough spot, but I appreciate your point, and we will make every effort to get out to every planning commission eventually.
Thanks. All right, any further questions for Rick on housing?
I just have one question. Could you just say what you said again, that for those of us that have an affordable housing plan, it's technically not good anymore, but it is good until we figure out what the targets are?
It's not required.
It's
You're
not
not required to have an affordable housing plan. The 830J was replaced under this bill.
Okay.
So, if you have an affordable housing, and that's, I think the planners, when they meet from around the state to talk about this, they're gonna try and figure out what does this really mean? You know, we have adopted plans in towns, it's no longer a requirement, but does it provide any benefit? Is it a piece of guidance? Does it function in any way under the law? Is it a reason for somebody to file an appeal on something that gets denied? I mean, there are lots of questions like that. I will say, from the legal aspect, we'll do the higher level. I hesitate to use the word legal review. We can't give you legal advice. You need to rely upon your own town attorneys in all those cases. But we will look at where the conflicts may exist between, in the law. As the plain language is about to be understood. So. SN.
We do a really good job of writing up the questions you need to ask your attorney. So
Yeah.
we'll prepare that list for you, but we're not your attorney, but we'll make it, we did this with First Selectman Temple and Oxford. We helped make that a cheaper attorney bill by getting directly to the question you have to ask. And
nowhere near as heavy a lift, but I have confidence in the staff. We did this when they passed the cannabis law. This COG and SN staff led the effort to figure out the bill, figure out the application, and make, produce a white paper that municipal attorneys all over the state stole from us and signed their names to it and presented to their town commissions as their advice. So, you know, I have confidence, we have a really talented team here, but this will be a very heavy lift on housing.
How much time do we have to get all this done?
Well, we don't have to deliver a regional plan until 2029, so somewhere between 2028 and 2029, so. But we're worried about what protections you may or may not have in the interim. And that's one of the things we have to figure out. Like I said, no one's talking about this, but I hope there's going to be a fix bill that'll have some provisions in it to deal with technical, you know, they'll call it a technical correction bill, but maybe there will be some other things that'll make it a better bill. I hope.
Okay, well, let's go to recommendations from the executive committee meeting. Rick?
Yes, so this is really simple, only actions out of the executive committee for the board to act on. We would be looking for items in the attachments in your package, the 2026 CNVMPO NVCOG meeting schedule, and then the NVCOG holiday schedule for 2026. I think those could be they're separate motions, so take them separately.
You want separate motions?
They already are, so.
All right, Mary Beth?
Yeah, move to accept the first one.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the meeting schedule. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're done on the holiday schedule.
Move to accept the holiday schedule as presented.
Second from Beacon Falls, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Just for the new members, we don't schedule a meeting in August. Otherwise we have a meeting regularly scheduled. We often cancel the July meeting, but I don't anticipate it this year.
Good. All right, environmental planning, Town Dam, Aaron, just for the new members, this has been one of our major projects over the last several years. I would urge you to, to look into it, but, we're in the process of taking down the Town Dam. And it's the last barrier in the Naugatuck River between, the river and all of our towns in Long Island Sound. And soon we'll be catching striped bass in all of our towns coming from the ocean. We'll have more recreation, more trails, and it'll improve economic development, and we'll all live happily ever after. So Aaron's been leading the charge. And so Aaron, you're gonna bring us up to date?
Yes, thank you. And I'm just gonna give a really quick update today. We'll give a much more, it's a very complicated project, so we'll talk a lot more about it next meeting and in subsequent meetings, but just a really quick update from last month's meeting. As we reported last month, the Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank has finally acquired the property and the project. So with that comes a lot of management requirements that we now have to take on from the previous owners. So there's a lot of FERC orders that we're going through and figuring out what we do and do not have to comply with. We're working with FERC on a request for relief on many of those requirements that don't make sense now that, it is no longer an active hydropower facility. So we're gonna be working over that for the next several months, making sure that the property is safe, cleaning up the trash that's accumulated around, frankly, really, we want to be better neighbors than the previous owners have been to the community. So we're working through a lot of that. EPA is a partner on this project through the Targeted Brownfield Assessment Program. So they did one round of sediment sampling behind the dam last summer. They're back again doing a supplemental round, collecting information that's really going to be instrumental in figuring out what we can and can't do with that sediment. So we'll be developing a sediment management plan early next year that's really going to guide the construction of the dam. The engineering and design is as part of that effort this time around, this PA, Their contractor had to get out there with a barge that you see in the lower right-hand picture. This is from last week. They're out there currently. But in order to get them and their barge into the impoundment, we had to repair the dam flashboards that were damaged in the August storm last year. So that those flashboards you can see in the upper right-hand photo, the new wood there, that was all that had all been damaged last year, lowering the water level and exposing all of the sediment that EPA needs to test, but they needed to test it from a barge. So even though you could, it seemed like it would have been easier to get out there with no water, it was actually more difficult. So we had to hire a contractor to get out there to make those repairs, to raise the water level back up to a level where a barge could float and get those samples. So that's underway now. They're going to be wrapping up in the next couple of weeks. Engineering and design is fully underway with GEI consultants. They are looking at alternatives right now for the dam removal. It's really going to, like I said, it's really going to depend on what we can and can't do with the sediment. So they're sort of working through some alternatives on that. The Seymour Sewer Relocation Project, there are 2 sewer siphons under the impoundment in sediment that's going to have to be managed. So those both have to be relocated before the dam can be removed. We have a separate engineer working on that project. They've developed a preferred alternative. We've presented it to the WPCA in Seymour. We presented it to the public, and now the WPCA next month will vote to allow us to move forward to full design on that. And we're hoping to start that construction in 2026. We just had our 8th community meeting on the project on Wednesday. Rick was on hand as the president of the Connecticut Brownfield Land Bank to sort of talk through what the land bank does, why the land bank is involved in the project. I think it was a very, very good project, or a very good meeting. Next slide, please. Like I said, so a lot of moving parts. It's a very complex project. If any of the new members want to get more information about it, we have our website, NVCOGCT.gov/Kinneytown. There's also a story map that really, it's a multimedia story map that goes through the history of the river, why this project is so critical. And you can get to that on that QR code or on the webpage. So like I said, we'll talk a lot more about this in coming months, but if you want to get up to speed, it's a really good resource there. Yeah. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, questions for Aaron?
This will be a really big part of the Ansonia orientation meeting when we come down. We'll make a full-blown presentation on this.
Okay. All right, thank you, Aaron. Regional Long Island Sound Ecosystems Grant Application, Molly.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. For those who don't know me, I'm Molly Johnson, environmental planner here at NVCOG. And I'm here to talk to you about NVCOG Resolution 2026-03, which would authorize us to apply for the Regional Long Island Sound Ecosystems Grant. That grant is a one-time $7 million funded grant that allows for projects about habitat restoration or green stormwater infrastructure. And our project, our proposed project is focused on the upper Naugatuck River with 5 NVCOG municipalities and conducting a green stormwater infrastructure assessment for that. And we believe that would help to improve water quality in the upper Naugatuck River by allowing us to identify different areas for green stormwater infrastructure and bring that into those initial designs and eventually implementation of that green stormwater infrastructure. And for those who may not be familiar, green stormwater infrastructure is it's a variety of techniques that allow you to reduce stormwater flows and runoff, prevent flooding, and also treat that stormwater before it goes into our waterways so that we can help improve the waters and also reduce flooding in our communities. So it's our recommendation that we your board would move to adopt the proposed resolution 2026-03. I'll take any questions.
Questions? Gonna go to Oxford this time.
Make a motion,
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 you approve?
so move, you.
Thanks, Jerry.
Gary's my proxy.
We have a motion from Beacon Falls.
Second, second, Sheila.
I second it.
Okay, here we go. Progress.
Just
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Regional Climate Resilience Fund Project Update. Greg.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and current and future members of our board. Congratulations on your recent election or re-election. Thank you in advance for your family and your sacrifice in serving our towns and municipalities in the region. I'm here to talk about the Climate Resilience Fund. My colleague, our colleague Christine O'Neill did a great job and wrote a grant a couple of years ago that allowed us to select 9 projects from our natural hazard mitigation plan for improvements. These are mostly culverts and drainage systems that are located within the towns and municipalities of the region. We were able to, through this grant funding, complete studies and 30% designs for each of these projects. These plans include green infrastructure and stream smart applications and processes. We were able to hold 6 public meetings to present the plans in concept form and then later in more final design. And we thank the towns of Oxford and Shelton for hosting those. The other third was held here. We also were able to, through this grant program, do a training on green infrastructure and stream smart concepts for our municipalities, and 14 of your staff did participate in that. The next step in this project is to obtain additional funding so we can complete the plans and get them built. This year, we have the opportunity that Christine is once again leading up the grant writing process for the next round of grants. If we are successful, we will be able to complete the planning to 100%. We'll be able to conduct the permitting, making all of these projects shovel ready and more competitive for future grant funding. Just to reiterate, so there's no confusion, there are no matching requirements for this grant, although we did in our email soliciting your participation mention that if you did want to match, it might strengthen the grant application, but there is certainly no matching requirement. That's the information. I'm glad to take any questions.
All right, questions for Craig? All right, thank you, Craig. Household.
We don't need to move on.
No. Save you for the next.
Yeah. Just wanna get ahead.
Household hazardous.
I saw Wilkett in there somewhere.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For those who don't know me, my name is Tom Doherty. I'm an environmental planner here at NVCOG. And I'm going to provide a brief update on our household hazardous waste program. I would like to thank all municipal staff involved in Naugatuck, Watertown, and Beacon Falls for hosting a successful year of events. We host 3 events per year for this program. Your efforts and professionalism continue to make this long-standing program a success, consistently receiving compliments from your residents for its well-organized operations. This year, we collected 2,599 carloads of household hazardous waste from our residents, which is an increase of 400 carloads over last year. This growing participation highlights the increasing value and impact this program has across our region. And to further enhance our program, NVCOG will host its annual household hazardous waste meeting on December 4th at 1 p.m. to review the year's achievements and discuss potential changes. All interested municipal staff are invited to attend. You will see an event flyer on your table that includes a registration link along with a QR code. More details on the program will be discussed at our December board meeting. You may contact me at any time if you have any questions regarding this program. Thank you for your continued support, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, questions for Thomas? Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
MS4 support update, Molly. Molly, why don't you start off by telling our new members what MS4 is?
Okay, yeah, the MS4 is the Municipal Separate Stormwater Sewer Systems program. It's a general permit that actually all of our municipalities qualify for. And it's a way that the state regulates water quality. And so here at NVCOG, we are working to support your municipal compliance through a variety of programming. And so that's one of the updates I wanted to provide today. Do you have any further, or should I continue? Any further questions on the general permit for right now? We'll go into
Let me just say one thing. It's an engineering issue. Every town is different. There's mandates involved. You have to comply. So as a COG, you know, we try to find ways to improve everyone's stormwater system. So it's easier to be in compliance with the mandated plans, but it's one of those details that's easy to overlook. But it's important.
Yes, definitely, and we do plan on going a little bit deeper in the December meeting about stormwater permit in general and a broad variety of the work we're doing. I just wanted to provide an update that in November, we hosted a Green Snow Pro for roadways training, and we had 15 participants from Public Works from 10 different municipalities in the region. So this was an effort to support our municipalities on their snow management practices and provide them with expert advice and the scientific background on sustainable snow management. That includes de-icing techniques, how to calibrate your equipment, and also how to safely store salt at your municipal facilities. And so we had a very successful day, and we believe it will help prepare the NVCOG municipalities better for this winter. But we definitely wanted to especially thank the Flanders Nature Center, who donated their space so that we could meet, because it was on election day, so it was hard to find municipal space. And also the town of Woodbury, who generously allowed us to use their truck for calibration demonstration. So that's just the update about our Green Snow Pro training, and thank you for all who participated.
All right, thank you, Molly. All right, we're gonna go to Brownsfield. I'll just start off by saying if you're new and you have Brownsfield in your town, pay attention. There's a lot of things that you can help your towns with here in Brownsfield. You know, Ansonia, definitely a lot of the more industrial towns more so. But it's one of the key benefits of COG, and there's again a lot of new jargon, but there's very, very good programs, and they're easy to follow, and our staff is great. I was gonna let Inez go before you.
No, I was just gonna note that your point's well taken, but we have worked on brownfields in all of your towns. You all have brownfields, trust me. If you have farms, you have brownfields. So keep that in mind.
So everyone has to pay attention.
Everybody.
All right, I know.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Inez Ortiz for new members, and I work in our Brownfields department alongside our Brownfields program director, Ricardo Rodriguez, who had to step out early today. But today, there's no action on this item. I just wanted to remind everybody and let new members know that we will be hosting the Regional Brownfields Partnership Committee of NVCOG will be hosting its annual meeting on December 11th at 2 p.m. at the Clocktown Brewing Company in Thomaston. And we would invite all members to join us. It will be a really great opportunity to learn more about the Regional Brownfield Partnership and the services that it has to offer to member municipalities, and to also highlight the projects that we have worked on so far in 2025. registration for this event is required. So you may register by using the QR code on the screen, and there's also been a flyer included in your packet with the registration link, or you can call me directly and I can make sure that you are registered for the event. I would also like to note that you may have received, some elected officials may have received an email from me last week regarding vacancies in your member appointed representative for your municipality. And if you do have a vacancy currently, I would encourage you to consider filling this vacancy and appointing a representative ahead of the annual meeting to ensure that your municipality is accurately represented at this annual meeting. So if there are any questions on the appointment process or the event, I would be happy to answer them now or after the meeting, but as Rick has said, we'll be talking about the further detail next month, and we look forward to working with you and finding your ground deals to help you with them.
All right, questions for Inez?
I just want to clarify, so it's a committee of this body, even though it spreads beyond the boundaries of NVCOG, we have other towns as well. All CEOs are included, some designate themselves as the representatives, some designate staff. It's your choice what you want to do, but you're both invited. CEOs are always invited to every event activity because it's a committee of this body.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Inez.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to municipal affairs. Drew.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Echo everybody else's sentiments about welcoming new members. I am the Director of Municipal Affairs, which is a fancy way of saying that I'm kind of your broad generalist. And if you have a question and you're not sure where to go with that question, generally easiest for you to come to me and let me help you get to the right staff member or the right resource on both the, in our shop, but on the state level and on the federal level as well. We have some great relationships with folks that we can put you in touch with. That being said, I also cover emergency management for our group, and as part of the requirement for grant funding that we receive, I have to give you an emergency management update every month, no matter how detailed that this. Sometimes it's more detailed than others, but for a quick overview, we cover, and NVCOG's region covers 3 different DEMIS regions, and DEMIS is the State Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. So we straddle 3 regions, and as a matter of fact, the Region 2 meeting always conflicts with this meeting. So when we first walked in the room today, you may have noticed I'm on headphones. I'm covering that for the COG, but you each have representatives from your towns that cover the regional REPT meetings, which are regional emergency planning teams. So generally, those are your emergency management directors who do a great job in your respective communities. But if you have any questions about emergency management, you can always funnel them to me. And I'll be happy to put you in touch with the proper folks. And there's a lot more detail of that in your welcome packets for the new members. Next slide, please, Ezra. Thank you. So I know this is a very busy slide. What you really need to know here is that the Connecticut Military Department, in concert with DEMIS, is offering one-on-one workshops and regional sessions for your, I really encourage you to take advantage of this. And some of the towns, some of you already did this last year. Basically, it's a cybersecurity evaluation to make sure you're steeled against potential problems. Last year's assessments found that over 60% of organizations lacked a formal incident response or service continuity plan, and 75% were not properly managing risk. I know we have multiple municipalities and police departments and things within our region that have been affected by cyber attacks in the last couple of years. So for this, you absolutely should take advantage of this. It's free. And really the only thing you need to take down from this slide is on the bottom right hand side. Ian Heath is who you want to connect with at the state of Connecticut, who can help schedule that for you. But especially for you new folks, if you're not really sure of your infrastructure, IT infrastructure and the security thereof, this is a great chance for you to kind of evaluate that.
And I would just add, there are towns in our region who still do not have proper security. We had a town get hit yesterday. One of our communities, I know of a police department that uses Gmail to communicate. There are some really bad practices out there. I encourage you all to take a deep dive on this and you need to spend money on it.
Is there any funding or grants or anything like available that I think?
We'll absolutely talk about that, and I'm happy to talk to anybody after this meeting today, but as Rick and some of our other staff alluded to, we're looking forward to getting into all the new communities
with our leadership staff and really get down to more detail on all of these things, but there's absolutely funding opportunities for all of you for a lot of things that you're probably thinking about or thinking about and that you probably ran on your platform. So we're happy to point you to those.
Well, I heard we're on Gmail.
You guys are, I know you have a CT.gov or maybe a .org.
Well, yesterday I was told we're on Gmail. I don't know. I haven't been in there yet, but I was told we're using Gmail.
We'll definitely help you get down to brass tacks on that too.
Okay,
Drew,
thank you, Drew.
Excuse me, but are you going to conduct audits of towns regarding these issues?
We are not specifically through NVCOG, however, that Connecticut Military Department, they're gonna bring in their cybersecurity experts to do that. I don't know if we would call it an audit, more of an evaluation with some recommendations.
Yeah.
And also we'll say, if you don't already have it, which I think it's required now, maybe Rick can potentially know this, you need cybersecurity insurance as well. And again, some of these towns, you're getting hit with ransomware for, I don't know, millions of dollars for the $10,000 up front, you need to paying the premium to cover that. It's well worth it if you don't already have it. So, you know, again, this is maybe more for your finance directors or other staff within your building, but hopefully we get to meet with all those people as well.
But no matter how small you are, you need a real IT operation. A lot of this has evolved from, you know, somebody's brother-in-law who built websites and you really don't, sometimes you really don't have proper infrastructure. And the truth is, in a national emergency, there are only two domains that are going to be protected and stood up by the government. One is .mil, which is the military, the other is .gov. If you are operating a city without a .gov domain, you're not going to be protected in any sort of national emergency. Keep it in mind.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, through our, like we have Kerma for our insurance, and they provide that. They provide the safety unit getting into the schools. They'll do every 2 years, which you should do anyways, making sure people go in and they'll try to get into the schools, past the security. They set it up with the first selectman or mayor's office and the police department and the school. Only like a couple school officials know that it's happening, but also for cybersecurity, your IT. If you don't have, if you have a part-time IT or you should find a company out there. Your IT should be on that, because we have training right now and our employees kind of fight it and don't do it, but it shows up on the training that you have to do. And then you find out when these emails are coming in, just as yesterday, like we get it from Windsor Locks from the mayor's office. You know, people are clicking on it and it's like, do not click on it. We never get an email from Windsor Lock. So, I mean, but there's training, from there. So you should check with your IT staff right away and see what you have, and especially your insurance companies. You should make sure that you have the right thing in place, because it's getting bad out there right now.
Do most towns have in-house IT or are they outsourced?
There's a variety. Larger cities tend to have their own in-house operations, but often also have outside consultants. Rich handles all of our technology here. We operate with a small group that keeps an eye on it in-house, but we pay an outside service to handle our email servers, our security, our training. There's a training. It's a for-profit company, but it's called KnowBe4, and it's a very common one that most people use for testing their employees and training them on an ongoing basis.
And I will say, actually, we'll be transitioning from KnowBe4 hopefully in the next year to a company that does more than just testing for phishing emails for cybersecurity reasons. And if anybody's interested, please reach out to me. So I'm Richard Crowther Jr. I manage the mapping data and technology, mostly it's internal technology, but if you need any help with your municipality's IT, I could be a resource for you.
Thank you.
So KnowBe4, will they do live testing? You know, where they're actually sending? Yes, and then if you click or open, so for here, I get a monthly report. And then if staff don't even take the test, they get sent to summer school. So, so we take it very seriously around here because there has been incidents where, phishing emails have successfully worked. So, But
That's why I
there's no,
remember.
before it's just one company, there's various companies, but if you have a managed service provider, instead of an actual staff member, but a contractor that does your IT, they should be aware of one of these things and should be included with your contract or be a reasonably cheap addition to your contract.
Richard, what was the name of, I'm sorry to interrupt, my name is Timothy Nolan, I'm the data scientist, one of the other 2/3 of, the MDT. What was the name of the new service we're initially going to be talking about?
I don't know yet.
Well, whatever that service is, it also, in addition to sort of the standard Node 4 services, which has your phishing, standard best practices for data. It also has, new modules for artificial intelligence, understanding the new world that we live in and what that means. These are super duper important, conversations to be having right now. As these technologies sort of become absorbed into, like, part of the very operating system that we're working on. So that's just another thing that we want to be appraised of as we move forward in this great new world. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
One last comment. A lot of things, a lot of new information, things to be worried about. Everyone, no matter the big cities, small cities, towns, this is a major issue. Of all the things we talk about, it's the one that scares me the most. And we have stress tests, we do a lot, we have a special committee, and I still worry about it because I see attacks around the clock. So this one, just get as involved as you can in this right away. All right.
If I may just interject, in order to get cybersecurity insurance, there is a certain amount of boxes that have to be checked before they'll even issue that insurance. So they're gonna provide some guidelines as well as to some of the things you may need. I would not, that's not to deter you from doing more. I'm not suggesting that is all. I think perhaps the Nova idea is a good idea, or any other company that can really check, because employees don't necessarily always get it. And it's, if you get an email and you click on it, who knows what you're opening up, and people need to be aware of that kind of thing.
Thank you. All right, let's go to NVCEDD update, Drew.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So another thing that falls under my umbrella is the Naugatuck+Valley Border Economic Development District. We are federally designated district that is along the same borders as our COG, so which is very convenient. So we just took over the economic development district for the region in July. So we're still building out the infrastructure for that and the rules. And what we're currently doing is we are touring our staff along with the chairman of the committee that oversees the economic development district, who is Jim Nardozzi from the Waterbury Development Corp. We are touring the region and meeting with all of the representatives that each of the municipal CEOs appointed to that committee and kind of finding out what your priorities are locally. I know that there's a lot of cases, obviously there's 8 cases where the CEO has changed, that designee may change as well. We'll have those conversations with you individually, but I do encourage all of you in the room, if you have not already, and this goes for the current CEOs who are incumbents, as well as new, to take the survey here, which is really kind of helping us understand what your local priorities and gaps are in terms of your capability from an economic development standpoint locally. Those are the kinds of things we're gonna wanna work on a regional level. So if you can scan the QR code and that will bring you right to it. It could take you less than 5 minutes to fill it out. You could also take down the address there if that's easier for you.
You can send it out also.
And I absolutely will send it out to you folks, and it'll be in your packets as well. And next slide, please, Deborah. So really what we're looking to do today from a action perspective is we're looking to establish a strategic advisory board executive committee. So we have that larger strategic advisory board that's made up of your appointees and also people from the private sector and from our utility partners and workforce boards and chambers of commerce. It's quite a large, sometimes unwieldy group. So what we're looking to do today is create a 5-person group, a subset of that already existing strategic advisory board that will help guide us in our process to create the SEDS, which is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for the region. I know there's a lot of alphabet soup today for the new people, so I remember starting here 3 years ago and being very confused, so I can imagine what you're going through. But that basically, we want this smaller subset to be able to help guide our staff in the process.
So just to be clear about what we're doing today, so we've established the NVCEDD as an entity under the NVCOG. We are the host agency. You have all appointed strategic advisory board members, as well as the ones Drew mentioned that he recruited. This is our recommendation as staff to the board to appoint this first executive committee. After this, they will elect in the future. They'll develop their guidelines. We don't have all the guidelines, operating rules in place yet, but we need a working group that really can take the lead on this for now. So our recommendation is that you appoint them as the executive committee of the EDD, and once they develop rules, they will make their own elections.
All right, any questions?
There'd be a term to that?
A very good question that I hadn't thought of. I'm assuming this is gonna be a one-year term, because we anticipate they'll have adopted guidance and rules by then.
That should be part of the.
Can we add that to the motion?
Sure. You could make a motion.
We're done.
Wow. I already did before, no, so.
Appoint the members to one-year
Yeah,
terms.
so 1 year term.
Starting 1 year terms. All right, do we have a second?
Yeah,
Oxford. Take credit for this this time. Okay,
I just want to clarify,
yeah,
the motion, so, appointing them to one-year terms or until their, successors are elected.
so,
Well, now they're gonna
Uh,
1 year to do it, you know?
I'll do.
all right. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Who-
Sheila.
Okay. So noted. Motion carries.
Don't like it?
All right, let's go to mapping data and technology. Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I'm Richard Crowther. I'm the GIS and Technology Coordinator for NVCOG. Yesterday, we hosted a Mapping Data and Technology, or MDT for short, lunch and learn for municipal staff and some new CEOs. Held in person and virtually. The QR code on the screen is to the recording on our YouTube channel. So if you are new and like to know what we do, you can watch the video or send it to any of your new staff. Also, we'll point out NVCOG has a bunch of resources on our YouTube channel, bunch of transportation projects and also environmental. And yeah, all those kind of details are online. So yesterday, the department went through our products and services that we provide to the towns, and also to the public. We have a bunch of public-facing interactive maps. There's data tools online. We also had a guest speaker, Alfredo Herrera, who is the state GIS office, and the products that are available from them. And then we also discussed the parcel and CAMA data improvement grant, which is going on in 15 of your towns. Where we got a state grant to help improve the match rates between the GIS parcels and the assessor CAMA database. So there's a record in each one, there's a matching record in each one. And the consultant, New England Geo, made a short presentation on the work they completed thus far. So we look forward to working with your municipal staff for any future mapping or data needs. Thank you.
All right, questions? All right, thank you, Richard. Community planning, Savannah.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, and welcome board. It's nice to see new and old faces. I'm Savannah Nicole Villalba. I'm the Community Planning Director. I go by SN, but you can really call me whatever you want, as long as I'm getting to help you with land use. I won't be here at the next meeting because I have finals, but I'm confident the Community Planning Division will do an excellent job giving you an overview of our division and the work that we do. Today, there's no update, it's just an update, no action is required from you. We wanted to let you know that we published our latest community planning newsletter. 2 articles that may be of interest to you is our interview with the borough's very own and finest town planner, Lori Rotella. And then we also do sustainability spotlights where we highlight different intersections of the environment and land use that could be of interest to your local boards and commissions, written by our environmental planning division's Christine O'Neill. We wanted to let you know that our community planning newsletter is going to be under construction. We want to be sure that it's really of use to you and your land use staff. So please stay tuned for an email from us just asking you a few questions about if you use it, how you use it, how we can make it more beneficial to everyone involved. So I think any questions, I think.
Okay, question. Thank you, Roxanne. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, back to the beginning, Rich, transportation planning.
Yes, so you'll hear from me twice at most of these meetings because we do the MPO meeting, which again is just specific for the 15 towns, and then we do transportation planning for the COG for all 19 of you. And so we have a very quick update today on our safety action plan that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. We received funding under the Safe Streets and Roads for All program, the federal program, to develop a Vision Zero action plan for the region. We've been working on this now for several months, and we will have a draft of that document that we'll present to all of you at the next meeting. We'll be wrapping up, asking you to adopt that in February. And so I'll turn it over to Mark to talk through some of our priority emphasis areas and actions, and then we'll wrap up the meeting pretty quickly from there.
Okay.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Mark Nielsen, Assistant Director at the COG. And I just want to go real quickly, what we've come up to date in terms of the safety emphasis areas and possible actions to address safety and improve, or reduce the number of crashes that occur in the region. The key to this is these areas and actions have been derived from a data-driven analysis. We looked at the crash data and, come up with the number of crashes at various locations throughout the region, put in the GIS to identify, the critical location. We also rate fatal crashes more heavily than we do the property damage only. So we use a sort of an index to really kind of identify the high hazard location. But it's also been informed by interviews we've had with each of the municipalities. We've met with either the chief of police or engineers, other public safety personnel, identified what they see as the critical locations. That is good, but sometimes we don't actually know exactly what's going on at a location, by the data. Because sometimes there's an unsafe area because people know it's unsafe and they avoid it, or they drive a little bit more safely so crashes don't happen. So we use both these kinds of sources to identify the action. So what we have on the screen over the next 3 slides are our key emphasis areas, intersections, and again, there are 2 groups of projects that we're going to be looking at. What we call safety system actions, which are items that we can implement anywhere in this region. More minor type of actions. And then we have the more detailed infrastructure that's going to be tied to a specific location, specific intersection. So with intersections, we're looking at upgrading traffic signals. We heard the age of some traffic signals is really, a problem. We want to put curb extensions in intersections, realignment where possible. We're also going to be looking at what intersections may be eligible or reasonable for converting to a roundabout. Roundabouts are a lot more safe, and they reduce a lot of conflict. We're also looking at the interest in implementing the automated traffic safety enforcement devices, red light cameras or speed cameras. So we also gauge that. Road departures is another key item. Looking at upgrading signage, rumble strips, things like that. Driver behavior and aggressive driving are 2 areas that is very, very difficult to figure out how to address because of driver behavior. But again, there are programs out there for increased education, enforcement. We also heard that speed feedback signs have been very effective in towns to trying to get, drivers to reduce speed. So we want to implement a lot more of those throughout the region. Vulnerable users are pedestrians and bicyclists. Unfortunately, we found that pedestrians in our region are very overrepresented in a number of fatalities and severe crashes. And so we really want to highlight actions that will protect them a little bit better, mainly in our downtown areas. So again, it's looking at high visibility crosswalks, what RRFBs, which are the rapid fire flashing beacons that we put on stop signs and crosswalks, upgrading pedestrian signals, things like that. Bicyclists are also vulnerable. Less so, because there's a lot fewer people riding bicycles, but the key item there is looking at completing our trail systems that we have, started over the last 20, 30 years. And also looking at possibly adding protected bike lanes where they make sense. Next slide. Younger and older drivers are an issue. Again, not much we can really do, but we're looking at supporting education, continuing the graduated license program for young drivers. And then we also want to do a deeper dive in some high crash corridors, and they're listed right here. We want to do either detailed safety assessments or road safety audit. They're listed right there. Several of them are in Waterbury, again, because of the higher number of people who are walking, older infrastructure, things like that. So we're going to be looking at doing these kinds of detailed assessments over time. Next slide. And then finally, this is a list of our infrastructure projects that we're proposing. And this is based on, these are the top 10 high hazard crash locations throughout the region. Again, it's based on us looking at the index, rating, fatalities, severe, serious crashes, versus, minor crashes or, property damage only. And these are the top 10 have sort of, come to the surface. Our engineering staff is looking at these locations and developing concepts to, see what we can do to try to reduce the number of crashes. A couple of these we've already started looking at, and one of them, I think Rich mentioned the new, we're working on the new mix project, which is, looking at the mixed master interchange between 84 and Route 8. We're trying to identify things we can do under that program to get some of this implemented, as quickly as possible. So just a quick overview. This is going to form our action plan and, going forward. And why this is important is projects and actions we identify in our action plan will then become eligible for the federal funding under the Safe Streets and Roads for All. So it's important to get these projects identified. So if there's a project that the towns want to apply for, they can go into this program. And you have to answer any questions at this point.
All right.
Just one important note about this too. I know it's sometimes concerning to see locations in your town posted on the screen as a high risk location. And so Title 23, Section 409 of the US Code protects all of this information from legal proceedings as long as it's being used for planning and project selection purposes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just the very last item on this is, along with these projects and solutions, we will be putting together the implementation plan. The goal is for this not to be a list of problems, but an actionable plan with funding sources identified and close collaboration between CONDOT, us, and your municipal staffs.
All right, thank you, Rich. All right, round table. Oh, Rick?
I have one thing. Yes, I just want to take a second and just recognize our own, my executive assistant, the board clerk, Trish Broder, who you all talked to. She's ended her service to the city of Ansonia, and last night they awarded her the keys to the city.
Got a key to the bank?
And I've got to interject because we don't have anyone to replace her for the city, and I'm coming in. She's agreed to stay on for a while and help me, so I appreciate that. So I want to thank you for that very much, from the town people in it. And I don't want to tell you how long Tricia's been there, but she's been there a long time. Thank you, Trish.
No, she's done a wonderful job for Ansonia. We appreciate everything she's done.
My grandson goes down.
All right. All right, so round table. This is an opportunity for any CEO to bring up any topic for discussion, question, or otherwise.
I have a very minor thing. In the future, like the next 3 or 4 meetings, could we not use so many acronyms so that the new people could understand what we're talking about?
Yep, we actually have an acronym dictionary, that we need to update, and get out, along with a bunch of other documents. We're trying not to throw too much at everyone all at once. Point taken, we're well aware of the problem because we live in acronyms in this business. So we'll try and explain them all as we go along.
YSD, you sure do.
Yeah.
Okay, a moment here, we know Thanksgiving's coming up, and I know everybody's been around, but I know we see it in our town, there's so many people, and we're getting calls now, and people needing food or assistance, and we do, each of our towns have that ability, but they even need more, so I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and hope that we can make sure everybody has a good meal and a warm place on Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you, Tom. All right. Anyone else?
I just have a question.
Yes.
There was a lot of conversation today about grant writing and, Middlebury is a smaller town, does not have a full-time on-staff grant writer. Do we share that resource in any capacity? Like if I needed a grant writer, there would be someone there somewhere to help?
So, yeah, like the first or second question asked by almost every new chief elected official. So we write grants for municipalities on a regular basis. They're usually in subject areas that we work in and that we bring to you. So it can be environmental, transportation, economic development, the range of things of general government. When you get to education, things like that, that's not something we're gonna be able to assist you with. But more importantly, we have a lot of the data. Rich is kind of shy when he talks, but they have deep amounts of data about all of your towns, which you will need when you're doing grant writing. Every town doesn't have a grant writer, and we can't be the grant writer for every town, but we will help you in every way that we can in most areas. The key for your town, though, is to have some capacity. There has to be somebody in your town who knows the information about your town. We can't go out and develop original information in order to compile the given application. So it requires somebody in each community who's able to talk about the facts and numbers and the needs of the community, so that we can then put that into a form that works for successful action.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I know I'm usually the one that wants to get the heck out of here, but, through the chair, if I could. CCM, Connecticut Conference of Municipalities and Council of Small Towns cost. You should be part of one of those or both if you are. CCM conference coming up in December. If you go there, they're gonna have a class on grant writing, informational class on that. Plus, most of the municipal agents in your town should be the ones that at least can get you to the right people to write most of the grants. But the CCM conference coming up this December 1st, the 2nd, we'll have a class on grant writing information.
The last thing I just want to say is we don't have a person here called a grant writer. Everybody writes grants in the second.
All right, last call. We're done item 14.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Sure.
All right.
I gotta.